What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. If you guys are new to the channel, let me go ahead and explain. About 2 videos ago, I mentioned about like my Evo was having hard time starting up, and then come to find out that I was having fuel leaking through the terminal on the fuel pump housing on the plug connector, and also the plug was kind of wet too at the same time. I went to go ahead and order a new fuel pump housing from STM Tune. So now basically what we're going to be doing is that we're going to install the new fuel pump housing. Pretty much just take all the parts off from the old fuel pump housing and then put it into the new fuel pump housing. Here is the new part over here. I just want to go ahead and just take a look at it. Everything looks the way it is. Fuel was coming out through the terminals on the housing. It's hard to kind of tell like if it's, you know, if there's any seal. I'm pretty sure it does though, but what I understand is that fuel is leaking through from the inside and leaking out through there. We're gonna go ahead and pop the bottom back seat out. First thing that we're gonna do, there is a lever that you gotta pull right underneath the seat. You just pull that out, lift, go to the other side, and you do the exact same thing. All right, next we're gonna go ahead and take out the 4 Phillips screws. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, we got the plate off. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect the plug. Yep, it's a little bit wet. Just when I pull it off, you can smell fuel just straight out from there. I know this kind of looks a little weird. Like I mentioned on the last 2 videos, it was already like that when I got the car. But thankfully, we don't have to worry about that. We can go ahead and ditch this piece out and use the factory line and slide it right into the new one. So I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect the 2 lines here. One over here, 8mm all around. And then we can go ahead and take the fuel pump housing out. I don't have gloves with me, so I'm just gonna use my hand. Thankfully that the gas tank is like a 1/4 low, so at least we don't have to worry about pulling the fuel pump out and worrying about spilling gas all over the place. Alright, so we got the fuel pump out. It's always a little struggle to get these out, especially the plate that goes over it, just because of the amount of space that they had on top of the car. But anyways though, everything looks good. The strainer looks a little bit dirty. I wish I had an extra one, but I don't. Never thought about changing it. So basically what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be taking these bottom piece that holds the fuel pump in place on the bottom, and then we're going to go ahead and vice grip these clamps out, slide that down so we can pull these guys out. The fuel level sensor right here also has to be disconnect, and also disconnect the fuel pump from this plug where it connects right here, and that guy in there too. So let's go ahead and start taking everything out from this fuel pump, transfer everything from here and put it in here. Alright guys, took a little bit longer than I expected. So we got the fuel pump out, we got this piece off, the fuel level sensor. These fuel holes are really bad, so I need to go get some, run down to Napa, get a replacement. Also, I'm just gonna go ahead and get like the adjustable clamps so that we don't have to worry about these kind of stuff. These are already worn down. And these pieces over here, these rubber holes were so on there, and the clamps were just so hard to get out. I kind of broke this piece here that sits in here. It's a one piece, It just sits like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and run down to Napa, get a replacement hose and clamps, and then slap everything back in, and we should be good to go. So I did kind of look through here, and you can see, so that terminal, this little burnt terminal right here, looks like it's melted. It just looks like glue. I don't know if you guys can see it. Very, very hard to tell, but I hope you guys can see it clearly. That looks like sealant, like glue or something, but I believe that's where the gasoline is leaking through there. All right guys, so I just came back from Napa. We got brand new fuel line hoses here. We also got the clamps, so we all good to go. I did pick up some gloves because I really need to. I kind of hate when I have hands smell like gasoline. So we pretty much got everything. What I am gonna attempt to do is that I'm gonna go ahead and use a torch right here. Basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to keep this in place and try melt one side and try to close that line, you see, and kind of go around just slowly just to get it all nice and secured. And if it does work and this piece keeps it in place, I'll be very stoked. I wouldn't guarantee to leave like this like permanent, but this is the only options that we have left, and we really need to get the car running as well too. So I'm gonna go ahead and start it up, kind of go around just a little bit, and maybe try to help melt the plastic between the lines, and hopefully we should be good. So this is how it currently looks. I know it just doesn't look really good, but I think we should be good. It's holding on nicely. I kind of melt this area over here. I checked the inside. There isn't any holes, so we should be good to go. And even if it probably had, like sliding this rubber hose in here would probably just cover it up anyways. And yeah, it worked, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and start reassembling everything into the new fuel pump, and then we can go ahead, throw the fuel pump back into the car, run it, and then recheck everything, make sure everything is good to go, make sure that there isn't any leak, and then go for on the road test. Alright, so we got the fuel pump back in the tank. Everything looks nice and hopefully secured. Kind of worry about this hose. You can just turn it left to right, but we're just gonna monitor it when we start up the car. I try to push this plug in like it's supposed to clip on easily, but it just kind of feels a little hard, but it feels like it's secured. It's gonna be a while to get this car running. You can hear the fuel pump priming. Let's try again. So I just disconnect this line to the fuel pump, and you can see there's no fuel. I mean, there's fuel, but not as much as it should to start the car up. So I'm gonna go ahead and take out the fuel pump and see what is going on. So I stripped everything off from the new fuel pump. The only thing that I noticed might be right here. This plug that goes in here is that you can see here on this terminal, the plastic is kind of over the terminal, is what I'm trying to say. So it might have just, I don't know, maybe a bad connection. So I'm gonna go ahead and just take this terminal off, clean up the plastic, plug it back in, making sure everything is good. Just kind of going through everything, make sure I didn't miss anything. So now I kind of noticed, so when I went to take off the terminal off from the plug, you should say, I try to snap it right back in, and it's just easily like loose, like it doesn't clip in anymore. So the back piece of the terminal, when I try to squeeze it in kind of a little tight, it broke the back piece. I was kind of like, frick, I'm kind of screwed. So what I ended up doing is I went to go ahead and grab extra wire, strip the outside of the skin, stuff the copper wires in there. I don't know if you guys can see it though, but it's kind of a little janky. I'm just trying to get this car running for now, and then we gotta go ahead and order this new harness that goes into the fuel pump. Fuel pump is back in. Let's see if this thing starts. It should start already. Look at that, guys. No sign of any leaks. Car is running, guys. Super stoked. I think that harness that goes inside the fuel pump, the two terminals, I think those harnesses are kind of common because over time that one wire in the connector is they break over time, I guess. But I remember seeing that on Jalen's Evo one time, and I had to kind of make it work, but it's still running to this day. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and order a new one anyways, just in case in the near future if it does go bad, that we know for sure that it has to be that harness. I don't know if any of you guys have that issue before. If you guys do, or whatever, any leak, just let me know. I'm gonna go ahead and drive to the gas station, fill up the car to a full tank, and then we're gonna drive home, check the plug, make sure it's not wet, making sure that we don't have any leak from the fuel pump side, and I think we should be good to go. So far so good, no leaks. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect this plug, make sure that nothing weird is going on. We are good to go, guys. Hell yeah.
A few moments later.
How this all started. I remember I had this problem before though. I can't remember what I did, but it just feels like this car is just freaking fluttering. Like it had the hardest time starting up, and it just doesn't sound good at all right now. I don't know what just happened. Frick. It's just not good right now. It's not good. And honestly, I don't think it has to do with the fuel pump, because I did remember, like I said, I came across with this issue. So I think what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna disconnect the battery. I'm gonna do a battery reset, and then just pretty much the battery reset, what it does is that it's gonna take any energy or any electrical energy in the car and trace it right out instead of going back into the battery or back into the ECU kind of thing. I'm gonna do it for 15 minutes, make sure that's good. And I'm also gonna go take out the plugs, clean it out, making sure that they're not foul. I mean, the car is running, obviously, but I'm gonna check on that, and then hopefully it just restarts itself. We do have a check engine light. I remember the code. It has to do with the auto sensor because the car is just running super rich. But yeah, let's go ahead and disconnect the battery, and hopefully the car runs good and start up good, because it just does not sound good at all right now. So before I go ahead and put the plugs back in, I disconnect the crankshaft position sensor so that way the fuel pump doesn't prime. That way we can turn over the car, making sure that all the fuel that is sitting inside like the cylinder walls and stuff should come right out, and then we can go ahead, put the plugs in, put the coils back in, reconnect the plug for the crankshaft. Just hopefully everything will run smooth by then. I just hope. It sounds like we fixed the problem. I just don't know how that all started. I just trying to remember how that even started to begin with. Overall, we fixed it. I'm stoked. I'm just gonna drive the car just to make sure that we're all good to go. Just kind of clear the engine out. I think I'm pretty much 100% confident that we fixed the issue. And of course the check engine light is on, so I gotta go and clear that, and then we should be good. Since 5 days since we actually replaced the new fuel pump housing. I did order the new part that same day. Parts actually came in yesterday. I decided to just take the fuel pump out because I'm pretty sure you guys are already tired of taking it out like 2 or 3 times already. And so we are gonna be installing the new harness and the new plastic tube piece that we actually kind of just jimmy rig for now to get it going. But we have all the parts here from STM Tune, so let's go ahead and open up, make sure we have everything in the package to get this thing going. So we basically got all the parts that we need. We got the harness. We're also going to be replacing the rubbers placed right here on top of the fuel pump, and the plastic piece right here that we need. So everything that we're going to be replaced was going to go into that. So if you guys need these parts, I'll have a link down below. It's a good thing that the new fuel pump housing came with another piece like this, so we're just going to have to slide this piece into here, and then we should be good to go. I know I didn't mention to you guys about it, but here on the fuel pump harness black wire, the female terminal, there's like a little back piece over here, and so it kind of sits inside this connector where there's a locking tab. So that piece broke, and that's pretty much the reason why that we had like some sort of bad connector or bad signal to the fuel pump to prime. So what I end up doing is I kind of stuff a little copper harness, you can see right inside. I'm not too sure if you can, but I basically kind of stuff it inside here, throw it right back in, just grab a couple of zip ties to kind of keep it in secured, and that's how I kind of made it work. I didn't really want to run this just because it's kind of sketchy, and if anything goes wrong, we'll be kind of screwed. So that's the reason why we have the replacement here. Let's go ahead and put all these new parts in and double check, make sure that the car is running good after that. So I actually had to take the fuel pump out again because the car didn't want to start. So I had to double check the harness on the fuel pump, make sure that's plugged in all the way in, making sure that I didn't miss anything. I mean, everything looked fine after when I took the fuel pump out, so I didn't understand what was going on. Reinstall the fuel pump back in the car, and then the car started again. So I don't know, that's kind of weird. Maybe it just might have a little bit loose connection or something, but the car is running, so that's a good thing. If you guys want to pick up these parts, I'll have it linked down below in the description box. Shout out to STM Tune for sending the parts out that we really need. Always the fast shipping from them. I hope this is really helpful for anybody who has fuel pump issue or fuel related as far as for Evo 7, 8, and 9. And I would actually double check on that black wire on the fuel pump side female connector. That tab breaks. So this is the first time that I've seen it, so I hope that this kind of help for anybody out there, as well as, you know, having this kind of issue. I haven't said this much in every video that I post, but if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, also like, comment, and hit the notification button for upload content. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, guys. Aloha, and I'll see you guys on the next one.